Hello, guys. Welcome, everybody, to Purple A's podcast. I'm your host who bleeds purple and gold, Isaac here. The Vikings, they fall now to 5-1. They lose their first game of the week against the Detroit Lions at US Bank Stadium. They fall short. Final score 31-29. And I'm not really mad at this loss, but I am definitely disappointed, and the Vikings, they ultimately had a shot, to win this game, and they gag away a very winnable game. And I know they were down early, but they started coming back and they still had opportunities to win. But we'll get to that, but we'll get to why that is in just a second. But there was some goods in this game. Aaron Jones, 14 carries for 93 yards and a touchdown. He had that 34-yard touchdown where special teams got a stop on 4th and 6, where the Lions were attempting a fake run. Aaron Jones, he is absolutely solid and healthy. When he's healthy, I hope that he does, because he's our best option right now. So Aaron Jones has been absolutely phenomenal this season. Justin Jefferson, he went off 7 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown. Man, Justin Jefferson is absolutely one of the greatest. He could have had more yards, but you're not. And then some defensive, and I thought the offensive line minus Ed Ingram did a relatively good job. We'll get to Ed Ingram in just a second, because my God. Ivan Pace Jr. led the team in tackles with 10 tackles, had a sack. He also returned a fumble recovery to give the Vikings the touchdown, to give them a lead, to finally get them back in the game. Ivan Pace Jr. has absolutely been phenomenal. Josh Metellus, I would say Josh Metellus is the only player in the secondary that made big plays. 8 tackles. He also forced that fumble, which he was responsible for forcing on where Ivan Pace Jr. got I think it was David Montgomery, where he got the fumble force on. And Josh Metellus, he's been great. Andrew Van Ginkel has been absolutely consistently making big plays. 7 tackles. He had 2 sacks on the day and a forced fumble. This dude, I feel like this is his best career that I can ever remember, man. I had no idea who this guy is until he went to the Vikings, and he is making a huge impact for this team. Jonathan Grenard, he was basically where I believe he got a stop to give the Vikings another chance. One of the most important stops on defense. So Jonathan Grenard definitely helped out. He also had a forced fumble too as well. Will Reichard, the whole special teams did a much better job today, though, honestly. Special teams, they got a 4th and 6 stop where Dan Campbell decided to go for it, really? And so, that they did not fall for it. They basically sniffed that out easy. Will Reichard, perfect kicking day, 3 for 3, 2 for 2 on 3 for 3 for field goals, 2 for 2 on extra points. He's 29 of 29 on kicks, man. He is crushing it. And then we get to how the Vikings did lose this game and how they gave where they had a chance to win. The defense, they had an off day. They gave up 4 straight touchdown drives with 69 plus yards. 69-yard drives, I would say. That's not acceptable. That was basically not good at all by the defense. The defense was off. And also alongside with the cornerbacks. The cornerbacks were awful. This is why the Vikings need cornerbacks as soon as possible. They gave up multiple touchdowns of 20 plus yards to wide receivers, and they could not tackle worth a darn. So the cornerbacks, I believe, were the worst part of this defense. I mean, the seven front made more plays than the cornerbacks. So I mean, the cornerbacks, that basically makes the cornerbacks the ultimate losers on defense. So basically, we definitely need more cornerbacks as soon as possible. I mean, I'm not saying, go get one, but maybe during the 24-25 off season, get more cornerbacks. And Brian Flores, I'm not saying it's entirely his fault, but you still got outcoached by Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson does this to every single defense. It's ridiculous, but you did make some nice stops. I will give him that, but still, Ben Johnson still got the better of you. But is it all the defense's fault yesterday? No. Not on Sunday. It was not all their fault. I more blame the offense than I do the defense. Because there was so many things the offense did not do right. Ed Ingram was awful. Honestly, I hope Dalton Reisner comes back and gets back healthier. Because Ed Ingram was atrocious. He had, I don't remember how many times, 2 or 3 reverse pancakes. He gave up some sacks and gave up some penalties. That's unacceptable for Ed Ingram. That's unacceptable. Honestly, I'm good with what I said. Dalton Reisner needs to replace Ed Ingram. And not Blake Brandel. Blake Brandel can stay. He is perfectly fine where he's at. But Ed Ingram, that's a whole different story. He needs to be benched for Dalton Reisner. And also Sam Darnold. I'm not saying he necessarily had a bad game. He did throw for 2 touchdown passes. But he also had an interception that led to a Lions touchdown. And then you also had, after Ivan Pace Jr. had a fumble recovery, you missed the 2-point conversion. You threw an incompletion. And also, you overthrew Justin Jefferson. This is the second to last possession. I blame Kevin O'Connell and Sam Darnold for that. Where Justin Jefferson was wide open. You had a chance to extend the drive, chew up clock. Maybe you can score and worry about it later and make Detroit use all their timeouts. But instead, you overthrew him. And it's not completely his fault, but we'll get to that. And also, basically, I feel like, though, the major reason and the major factor of why we lost is Kevin O'Connell and the play calling was downright atrocious. Besides the first 2 scripted drives that you had that resulted in 10 points, it was non-existent. But Kevin O'Connell, I will get to why we lost. First off, you started off the first half with 7 or 8 minutes left with 7 or 8 minutes into the start of the game. You wasted all 3 timeouts within the first quarter for no reason. You used two on defense, and then you wasted one because you decided to challenge the Tim Patrick fumble. I don't get that at all. Why you decided to just waste timeouts. I get the fumble call, maybe it could be, but you still gave yourself no time at the end of the first half where you had the ball. You would have enough time at the end of the first half, and then you would double back in the second half and score again, which is what you did. So you basically wasted timeouts for no reason. And also, the Vikings marching up the field. They make a nice touchdown, and then it's 20. The defense finally gets a stop. After the 51-yard dime to Jordan Addison, also, what you called a Mickey Mouse kind of trick play. Like when Sam Darnold was on a wheel route, Justin Jefferson was throwing. Why would you do that in the first place? Like, why? There was no reason to call that. Okay, trick plays are fine every once in a while, but when you are trying to get the lead, you're down 8, and instead you stall out that drive and you only score a field goal. The second to last possession also, which is where you deserve blame, is also the second to last possession. Where the defense got to stop. You're up 29-28. And you did run, pass. Incomplete pass. You punt the ball. Look, I get it though. Aaron Jones did a good job today, but the Lions knew what you were going to do regardless, and you only gained, and yes, you got 5 out of the first one, but just pass the ball. Let your receivers get the ball, just do that. Instead, you try to milk the clock, play not to lose, and that's the thing, is that I was hoping that you would do, is like, why can't you just play to win on those drives? Like, come on. Kevin O'Connell basically in this game, but my main reaction, though, to Kevin O'Connell's coaching is that he didn't have a feel of the game after the first 2 scripted drives, where adjustments are required at the right time to what is happening in the game. So, I mean, this is disappointing, though. The defense didn't play good, but I said before the preview that this is a game where the offense must show up. You need the offense to show up and play and make up for the woes of the defense. I feel like the Lions are going to try to do that, and that's exactly what happened. And you need to show something, and all those mental errors and mistakes costed you this win, which basically you could have been 6-0 and extended your lead in the NFC North. And look, I'm not saying it's the end of the world by any means. I am not saying that. You know, maybe this is what the Vikings need, to not be too full of themselves. Nobody expected that. It's very hard in the NFL to go undefeated. It is really, really hard to do that in the NFL. Like, very hard. Like, maybe a 1% chance to go undefeated. That's not happening. But yeah, this was definitely a disappointing loss. I mean, they do got a short week up against LA. Well, so let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Skol Vikings.